Hi, this is Marilyn Vance, and I'm hosting Mandi Line, a wonderful costume designer,
Oh, thank you.
on the show today. It's too exciting to have you here, really.
Oh my gosh, I was looking forward to this from the day you called me. I planned my outfit, and then, it would literally gave me a reason to wait. This is awesome. So thank you for having me here.
Are you kidding? You're so unique. You are the most unique, outstanding designer I have ever met in my life. The only other
From
person...
you saying this, I'm going to get that tattooed.
No, the
this
only
is
other
great.
person that I would think that of is me.
Okay. No, you know what? Hands down, you are so right. Yeah,
You
I
know?
love that.
It's
I love
like,
that.
hey, give it to us. Come on, we can do it.
Give it
Come
to the
on, more,
contemporary
more.
designers. We can handle it.
It's right.
Totally.
And it's all psychological presentation
Right.
also. Like you're given the show, like Pretty Little Liars, they are amazing. Before you
God.
came on the show, I had watched it a couple of times.
Yeah.
And it was a blah,
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just didn't have that panache.
It didn't have 14-hour days, no sleep, and all
Of
weekend work,
course.
right? Put into it.
Low money, yeah.
Thank
I
you.
know. You know what's so incredible is that we get hired to do these jobs, and they don't realize what it takes. They have no idea
I don't know if they ever will.
what goes into it. I know. I try
Seriously.
so hard to involve. Once they have you, they don't really want to be involved. Just show us. It's like, show us, And it's really incredible because we're telling a story. We are telling a visual story before they're even entering into a script.
Right,
We are
right.
taking the people.
We're taking their words, telling a story through our brains. Okay, great, got it.
Yeah, we
That's it,
process
yeah.
it and
Totally.
we see things. And you're an incredible designer, and you were a stylist. I love styling. If I ever get another chance to do that, it
I
was
like the money in styling. Let's be honest.
well, hey,
I don't know if there's going to be any more money left in the world, but yes.
yeah, commercial work is definitely A plus.
Not as fulfilling though.
What?
Not as fulfilling though.
Oh no,
Right?
not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Of course not. Because they're selling their product. You're just
True. They're like, oh, we have a jogger. I was like, cool. She's gonna have a cutout shirt and some spikes and some studs. They're like, no, she'll have a t-shirt, some shorts. I was like, what am I doing here? But yes, it all pays off.
I want to get into your background.
Oh gosh.
How did you where did this come about, becoming a costume designer?
I always say I slept with the right person. I know that sounds ridiculous.
Not really.
But it's like my go-to. Grew up really poor, and my mom became handicapped when I was young, and I knew that I modeled for a while. And I remember in my high school yearbook, I put, someone says like, oh, what are you going to be when you grow up? Well, I was like, a supermodel forever, my whole life. And I realized supporting my mother, being there for her, I had to do something still within that industry. So I went to fashion school, paid my way through it, and then went to raves at night. That didn't work out too good for my GPA. But I still partied. It was fun.
Jeez.
I made it happen. So graduated from FIDM and didn't know what I wanted to do back then because they didn't have like styling schools or they didn't really talk about costume designing. And I remember, and I'm going to date myself, but I was driving to an interview for the store structure. Yes, that is how old maybe I am. On my way there, I got in a car accident, just a minor one. And my boyfriend at the time said, there's that internship that you were offered on a film. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know what that is. Cut to, don't take the job at Structure. Go see the designer downtown in like some, back alley doing this low budget movie. Had never been on a movie set before and was there for, 14, 16 hours. And I got the bug and I never wanted to turn back. So I did.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. So I did a lot of low budget features. And then the slept with part was an ex-boyfriend of mine who went to the slept with part. He owed me.
You took her on the road, right?
Exactly. You're like, you owe me,
Amazing.
payback. He had called me. I'll never forget. I was on Sunset Boulevard, and he said, God, wait. Did he call me? Maybe he paged me. And he said, there's this band. They're playing at the Whiskey tonight. Come see them. They need someone to dress them. And I said, they need to be dressed. This is crazy. Cut to, it was the band Korn. So I started working with Korn. That led to Linkin Park for 5
they were
years.
enormous. And then Linkin Park, oh my God, those guys were, yeah.
It was crazy. And then it led to Godsmack and this band called Orgy. And I mean, it was like
I had Motley Crue.
Tommy Lee reposted a post of mine the other day.
Oh, really?
Are we dating? I think we're together.
No, let's
No, don't go there. Don't go there.
Let's go there. Yeah.
Maybe once, just
We're
once.
over that.
Just once.
It's gone.
Molly Crew. So yeah, started in really hard rock music videos, and then led to horror films like Mimic and
Oh, cool.
Children of the Corn and The Crow, like
Oh,
95.
very cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool, yeah.
It was really, really cool. And then I got my first chance to design a TV show on ABC Family called Greek. It was about,
Oh, it's that actor who was married to...
no, it was just a bunch of college kids.
Yeah, I remember that.
Right? You have like a punk rock chick
Yeah,
who never
yeah.
really went to a 4-year college doing sororities. I'm like, what is a
That's
sorority?
crazy. That's such a funny jump from the Crow to the Greek.
Oh yeah, they didn't want me. I had a lot of people like not want me, and I
Oh,
had
wow.
pink dreads, and I had this one guy and this one female producer say, "Take a chance on her."
Oh, very cool.
Yes. Isn't that great?
So how did you make the jump from bands and doing that stuff back? Like, so you went from basically indie films, then you got into the bands, then you went to the movies. What was that jump like?
Well, what was crazy was I had done, every freaking music video you can think of, and then all the horror films. I think I dated too many musicians, and I was working set because we all go up and down in our careers. And I'll never forget, I was doing set on this TV show In Case of Emergency with Kelly Hugh, and an actor was really rude to me, and I quit. And I've never quit a job. And I was in the dentist office. And this guy recognized me, goes, "Weren't you that set girl on the TV show?" And he was a director. Cut to getting back to Greek, he was the one, he goes, "The designer needs help. I want you to meet with the producers so you can help the designer kind of add some flair, because I can tell you've got something." I'm like, "Yeah, I actually am designing." I met with the producer. She ended up hiring me instead of the other costume designer.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
To be the boss, which was like back then, but it all worked out good.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah,
stepping on
yeah.
anyone's toes. But after that, it was 6 seasons of Greek.
Yeah, because that was a big show. That's why it's such a funny thing to just get,
Look at the careers of those people
Yeah.
too. The beautiful black girl, she's on the new Sex and the City they're doing with Pat Field. So
Yeah.
all those people are just blowing up, and I think a lot of us came from that heart and soul TV show, and we've all really excelled, which is really cool. So to jump into other TV shows, it was word of mouth.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
was, and I got a call to do Pretty Little Liars, and I turned it down.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
I said, I don't want to do kid stuff anymore. I want to do a lawyer show. And then I did Drop Dead Diva, and I want to drop dead. And there was a lot of really good people on that, but I saw the pilot of Pretty Little Liars, and I was like, oh my God, this is like the next Gossip Girl, because it was ending, right? So I just went in and did my thing. I think there was a lot of people that are like, that feathered earring's too much, or the clothes were too bold. And then cut to 2 months later, in the middle of Entertainment Weekly, it said the show that's changed the face of high school.
Wow.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, it was really, really
That's
cool.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I stayed within that TV world.
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah.
When, while we're talking about the show,
Yeah.
when you did your characters, and you looked, doing contemporary, we have to shop, obviously.
Right.
And mostly we actually shopped, not just go online. Today, they go online, they look at a topic.
That's it. Bam,
call
bam,
up,
bam.
Send it. Yeah.
Well, do you think it's harder? Obviously there's more access to more things, but when you get things, don't you guys want to feel it and see? Is it
That's the point that,
okay.
that the two of us were talking about.
That's it.
because today, I was recently involved in a show, and all they do is dial it in, call up, send it over, all the colors.
I know we have
send
to
it.
adapt, but I
That's,
think it's going to be a whole new environment, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I
yes.
think going in, I think the funnest thing, and you can attest to this, Marilyn, is when you're shopping your leads. I still love to shop my leads. I want to get out there.
Yeah, of course. I
I'll
want to
work-
feel it. I want to see it.
I want to see it. But the funny thing is I'll bring it back to the office, and you'll see my coworkers kind of like, okay. And I'm like, oh, no, if you take the collar off and take the sleeves off and change the
That's
buttons,
me.
right?
That's
You have to put your name on it.
That's so cool.
That's what she does. She's the only other person I knew that did that. I constantly.
Trick it out,
You
man.
had to. It was so
Totally.
boring. You
That
don't
is so
want-
cool to see something and know it's not done.
Well,
Yes.
the viewers, though, hate it these days because they want to buy it.
Oh, and they can't.
And they can't. Exactly.
They're like, sorry.
That's so cool for you guys that you're
Yeah.
literally making something that's like, oh, you can't, like, this is literally my vision.
Yeah,
Like, that's,
it's so crazy. I mean, Ed, I took this into film. My first film was crazy. It was absolutely.
What was your first film again? Remind me. Even though I've interviewed you and
one
studied
of the
you.
Jekyll and Hyde Together Again, the freakiest little thing. He was a doctor, so I had his doctor outfit with the pleated slacks. And
Right.
I shopped Fred Siegel's for the slacks, and then I got the flat front when he turns into Hyde.
Just those little things, though, is
And
such a
he's more, and the shirt gets unbuttoned.
It's
Yeah,
those
yeah.
little
And,
things.
that's right. They just called me from Fred Siegel to. They're doing a book on Fred Siegel. They wanted
Cool.
to talk to me. George, you remember George?
Oh God,
ran that
no.
place.
Maybe I dated him
God,
at some point. I'm just
forever.
kidding. No.
It was really out of the blue. That
That is great. I mean, and I think the youth of today, even Fred Siegel, they're just like, what about so and so from Tokyo? And I'm like, I don't know these. I'm learning these online, and I'm really trying to change that whole way of thinking. To really start shopping more Black designers, to start shopping more obscure designers. But sometimes those go-to places are still, like Fred Siegel was it. When they know you when you walk in a store.
you could find a piece, and you could find a piece there. Granted, they were expensive,
Right.
but they were unique. That was the thing.
Totally.
Even the T-shirts, they had a quality to it that
that everyone's
everything-
biting these days anyways. Yeah. They want that. Have you ever seen Made Well? Not Made Well, Made, oh gosh.
I've used Made.
Not Made Well, Made Worn.
No.
It's this dude named Blade Halverson, okay?
yeah.
Yes, I did date him for 2 seconds. Dead serious. So he started that brand, Junk Food.
Okay.
He was the first person to copyright a vintage logo. So when you see Little Miss something,
Oh,
and
that's
now
cool.
Target owns it. It's like
Yeah,
this
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
He started that, made millions.
Wow.
Now he works. If you look at Jason Momoa, all his weird shirts
Yeah,
and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So he does that. Anyways, cut to, if you look up his new line that he does for fun, it's one of a kind, sanded. I mean, they're dope, but if you were just a normal Joe, you'd be like,
Yeah.
that's a shirt for homeless people.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah,
yeah.
but it's $500. It's so good. But people make their living off
Yeah.
of making stuff look like
So
crap.
funny.
Yeah. That's so nuts.
Killing things. Yeah. Oh, seriously.
I texted him the other day. He didn't text me back. That's weird.
So many.
No.
Oh boy, so many times, changing things around, and they were just in the beginning of my career. It was
Yeah.
very difficult because they thought, I don't know what they thought.
They weren't ready for you. They weren't ready for you. That's all. That's all it is.
And my producer, fortunately, was hip enough to understand where my head was at. I said,
You need that one person.
I know.
Totally, to see
I
your
know.
vision.
He
for
was,
sure.
yeah. He was a tough one because his partner was the person that I really cared about
Yeah, yeah.
as a person. This
Totally.
guy was like one after the other, over here,
Right.
big mouth, shooting it off, screaming at everybody.
Remember when we would get screamed at?
But
back
I
in the
did
day?
17 films with that screamer.
Whoa.
So,
You know what? Thank you, right? The 17 films and kind of what you went through. I think it made us who we are today, though. I know we learned from like hard knocks. Like
totally.
I was yelled at. I remember this woman took a threaded needle, and she said, "You need to always have this effing needle on your body at all times." You know what I said? I'm all cool. I didn't cry. I didn't cry. I didn't like
yeah.
reporter. I was like, cool, because I'm going to learn. I will never forget that again.
It's so crazy because, yeah.
I feel like a lot of times in those situations, you even learn it's like, okay, when I get there,
How would I?
How would I? Exactly.
Totally.
So I think of that a lot. It's like, okay, I know how I feel right now, and I wouldn't do this. I would handle this totally different.
But you get the same. You want the same. You don't want the same reaction, but you want the same intent. You know, you learn how to get someone in what you want and get someone to do what you want, at the end of the day, you just do a little bit different.
Yes.
Just a little
Yeah.
A producer taught me once, all of your employees, if you can see them as different children, I have no children, so I'm good about that. But they just need to be spoken to differently. Some people need, hands in the air. Some people need written down. Some people need major texts to remind them. But I think it's just all adapting to who your crew is.
It's exactly.
Totally.
Yeah. We have really, we are our crew.
Oh my gosh.
If we can't perform without them. We might have the tricked out of the clothing and the dyeing and the this and the that. But when it comes to the actual fitting and wearing and getting it on camera,
getting
you
it to
need
the
an
trailer.
army.
Yeah.
You do. Really do. And we work that way. We work hand in hand with our people. And I always respect my customers. Always.
When you find good ones,
always. Oh
you
my God.
wish you could just work 24/7. But then I beat them up. So when there's too much work, my friend Lux, who's one of my best employees of my life, we did that TV show called The Arrangement. It was about they say it's not about Tom and Katie, but it was pretty intense. And she said, "Mandi, I love you, but your shows kill me.
Oh, wow.
They're so big. There's so many changes. I think in this new environment, though, they're not going to have 10 changes an episode anymore. I think it's going to be limited to 1 or 2.
That's what I wanted to ask you about the change, how you came up with your girls on Pretty Little Liars, because they're so, they're practically all on camera at the same time, many times as well. And their storylines. Did you go by the storyline of each girl, their background, and how did you come?
I think the older I'm getting, I really put more emphasis on the not necessarily my backstory. I like to give people their backstory, like where they came from, and all of a sudden the writer's like, "Why did she do that?" I'm all, "Remember her family were immigrants and they didn't have enough money." And he was like, "We've never met their family." I'm like, "Oh yeah, but you will one day. You don't have this whole life." I'm not kidding. And then they'll write it in, which is hilarious.
Oh, that's crazy.
It is.
It is.
Great, right?
Oh, writers, they listen to costume designers, and I swear they're going like this. As far as personalities, it was funny on Pretty Little Liars. Someone asked me once, "Well, the show takes place in Pennsylvania." I was like, "I'm on season 6, and I thought it was Los Angeles." Okay. So I definitely, when I came in, I got the job that day, and I came in the next night. So you have Aria, who she's artsy, and she's going through stuff with her parents and sleeping with her teacher at the same time. Okay. So she seemed creative. So I'm like, okay, cool. She's me. This is awesome. She's me in high school. Then you have the preppy girl with money, sophisticated, with an edge, old money. I'm all, great. This is who was not me. This is the girl I didn't like. So I really turned on my high school brain. It's maybe a little immaturity on my part. Yeah. And Emily, then you have, she's the lesbian that was coming out. I mean, now that's boring news. But back then it was kind of like a big deal. And I referenced Cynthia Summers on The L Word. What she did on that show probably made me date women, come to think about that.
She did a great job.
She did a great job. I think men, women, I don't care what you were, you loved Shane.
Yeah,
I don't care what your type was. And I jumped off of that. And then Hannah, who's played by Ashley Benson, do we see who she's dating these days? I think it's now. Oh, look, you guys are going to die. So her and Cara Delevingne split up. Yeah, she texted me a photo of him.
Yeah.
You get it. Just get the facial expression.
Yeah.
And she was the it girl. So, I had the 4 personalities, and those 4 personalities turned into a clothing line. So it was, are you and Aria?
According to Google, Ashley Benson is dating rapper G-Eazy.
Dude, okay, good. So it's out there. It's out there. She would send me videos.
That's crazy.
Also, when I type Ashley Benson boyfriend, Ashley Benson boyfriend's list is the first thing that pops
the
up
first
on
thing,
Google.
right? Like, who's she dating now? I mean, she's like my
Wait,
sister.
there were more than those girls. How many were there?
There were 4 lead ones, and then there was the dead girl that came back. Yeah, she came back to life, which the whole show was about. So that was Allison. And her story was all over the place. But it was, and then they had, Mona. Mona she was in a mental institution, and she was a fashionista, and then she was the killer. And then the killer ended up being, and this is no secret, the lead girl, Spencer's sister, transgender. Transgender was the original killer. This was a twin sister that wasn't treated right and moved to London and then kidnapped everybody. I mean, it was a whole, the last season, I'm like, am I high? What is going on? So
It's crazy.
It was crazy, but you know what? During that time, and if you kind of look up, the backstory on Pretty Little Liars and why it really hit when it hit so big, Twitter was just coming out. We shut down Twitter, and they're calling it lightning in a bottle.
Right.
There wasn't 20 young girl shows on. There was one.
Yeah.
And we nailed
amazing.
it, and the timing. I think that's how it all. And
Yeah,
a
it's
clothing
perfect
line.
storm.
That's
awesome.
That's really true. Yeah.
But you needed everything to work. That's why it's so great. It's like you needed the platform to be there, then the show to be recognized and trending at that point is probably one of the first things that was really ever trending.
And
now we talk about that.
Tweeted it. It was a whole thing. The hashtag and the dot. And I'm like, what is this? What are we doing here? But you're right. It was a perfect storm, and I think that's why they really wanted to nail it with the costume designer. They felt like she's fine, she's good, but something's not happening. And the second it happened, and I turned the jacket inside out, and I, did all.
So you had 1 day of prep from going to hire to work.
Oh yeah, so I had to use the clothes that were there. So I just twisted it.
And I'm sure you did rearrange whatever you had to do to do it.
Well, you saw
insane.
Lucy Hale. Literally, she was so cute. She was like a doll, and she would just go like this. Okay. And she would just wear it out, and 2 months later, it would be in every magazine, and it's a testament to the girls trusting me.
Yeah, because they could.
That of course.
Yeah, because they rock it with that confidence because they know you're confident in it. It's like, listen, I see it, and you're the,
That's how you're exactly right. Because when we come in, we have an opinion about something. Not that we push it down anyone's throat. We try to consider their character.
Well, they can smell fear too. They can.
That's true. That's true. They'll walk all over you, but you're gaining with them. You're hanging out. You're talking about their character.
Totally.
What would they do? Except that's for more or less contemporary. But in period, that's a whole other thing. Sometimes when you're beginning, in the beginning of my career, I had a hard time with actors. They didn't always respect the new girl in town.
Yeah.
Who is she? What has she done? Who cares? It was difficult to maintain, and I never had an agent. Not until.
Have you guys ever had
couple
to
of
flex
years
your
ago.
resumes? I mean, because both of you guys have a fancy resume. Have you ever had to kind of throw the flex out and be like, "Have you seen these movies? Or do you know what these groups are? Like that was me." Have you ever had that moment, or was it one of those deep downs? You just smile in your head. You're like, "Hey, do you know what Pretty in Pink? Have you seen Ferris Bueller? Do you know these people? Like that was me. Motley Crue. You know what I mean? Like, have you ever had to tell people?" So that, because I feel like sometimes it's like when they don't know, it's like when you see someone that's talking to all the celebrities and you're like, okay, who are they?
Totally.
And what do they do? It's like, have you ever had that moment like, oh, you have no idea who I am? Like,
I think I have that every day. Everybody I talk to, don't know who I am. I did it with you guys today.
Yeah, no, but that's
I
great.
said, don't
Yeah.
you know I'm Miss Simi Valley? And you guys
That's so great though, because especially being a female and like when you guys were like working doing all this, like, you guys probably had people looking at you like, all right, yeah, you do, but it's like, hey, I've worked on stuff that's bigger than anything you're ever gonna be a part of.
Listen,
legit, not this is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. I got into the boys' club. They didn't want to work with me. 48 hours. The crew.
God, can you imagine
I know.
that? Can you imagine
That's-
Nolte? Like, come on.
They did. Really. Yeah, we have our people. We don't need you. They put
And that was
me-
Nolte and Murphy, right?
Yeah.
I know. And
Those
like,
personalities.
yeah, I know, that's
Yeah.
insane.
It was insane.
That's so
and
cool.
Yeah, I got fired, then I got hired, rehired again. Oh, please.
Because
it
they
was-
see what happens without you. Seriously.
That's it. They came after me. And plus, after it was over, one of the producers said, I want you to come to dinner with me, blah, blah, blah. I have a meeting. I want to talk to you about something.
Right.
I said, okay, great. I go with him to this Chinese restaurant, and there's the director of the last film apologizing to me.
Oh,
Good.
wow.
And then I can't say it. I don't want to say it.
But those apologies, Robin Wright did that to me. And she gave me a card and she said, I'm sorry I opened the card and it said, "I'm sorry, I've been a see you next Tuesday." And she,
Really?
God, she said something really funny. If you only knew how hard it was knowing that your husband is hanging out with ScarJo. But her life was hard.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
she
yeah.
put me through hell. And at the end, we were, so close. But I think as far as flexing your resume, I think these days, personally, these people, these actors they're on the phone. They check you out.
Oh,
It's a
yeah,
weird
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Like when I came in on Charmed, one of the dudes, he is this like tall, fine ass brother, and he literally comes in. He's like, "I got you." I'm like, "What do you got, fool?" And that's how I talk. I'm like, "What do you got?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "I know your work. Do this."
Yeah.
And he called me out one time when I didn't shop his character. I was tired or whatever it was. I had something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he pulls me aside and he goes, "You didn't shop that." And I was like, okay. And he goes, "Honey, you're a white girl shopping a brother and you can do that.
Yeah,
Someone
yeah.
else did this fitting." And I said, "You're right. 100%. Someone else come back, give me 5 hours, I'll fix it."
Yeah.
So I think these days they get really excited
yeah.
to see who
Which makes
you are and what
sense.
you've done.
When we hear any name, you're
Yeah.
always like, all right, and then you look them up, and then like, I mean, even when we were working with you, we like I literally sent your resume like 8 of my friends, like, are you guys reading these names?
No,
Are you?
I died with her. I'm not kidding you.
Yeah.
I think the younger generation, like my intern who was like 0, I was like, "Have you not seen this?" I made him watch these movies. I said, "You can't work for me unless you've watched these movies. Have
Yeah.
you never seen
So
Ferris
funny.
Bueller?" He's like, "I think I've heard of Matthew Broderick." I'm all, "Oh my God, stop talking."
Yeah.
Yeah, man, do your work.
It was
Yeah.
a trip. Yeah, it was. I was on a journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I
It's
think they're going to freeze your, like,
really
your
interesting. Well,
brain.
you get
Whatever.
you got hung up with any producer. I mean, where you work with the same people over and over and over, and became, closer with them.
Yeah, I think if you look at, like on my Instagram live show, you start to see that people, you look at Tracy Field, and she always works with the guy from Sex and the City, and it becomes a blessing. Here's what it also doesn't become. When they're not working and they're writing, or they're spending their money and going on vacation, you're just like, wow, I actually have to figure out these new contacts. Agents are good, but you'll never hear a costume designer go, "Oh my God, my agent got me everything."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get your
Yeah,
own thing.
of
But
course.
right before the COVID hit, all my money makers, or breadwinners, or
Yeah.
all my connections were on vacation or taking time off, and so you are like struggling for a couple months, and you're like, "I've never not worked. Bam, this is why." And so you start to. I reach out to Marco Siega, a huge music video director back in the day, and I emailed him and I said, "I see you're doing Lost Boys. I did an alien ant farm video with you back in the day. Yes, I dated the singer, right? And that's another thing too. I was in one of the videos. Thank you very much.
Get out of here. Are you serious? What's video?
Movies, the original
What?
movies. You can watch it. I'm like doing his hair or something.
That's I love that song. That's a great band.
That album was so good.
It popped.
The
That
one
was-
with the
yeah.
bug on the front.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, you're welcome.
Because that smooth, it was a Smooth Criminal that popped for, then Movies jumped.
Then Movies jumped.
Yeah.
But Movies was released first with Marco Siega. No one even knew what it was.
Oh,
Then they
wow.
sold the Smooth Criminal to some movie. It played on a soundtrack.
Yeah, and then
They
Movies
blew
pop.
up.
Yeah, right after that. 'Cause I
Uh-huh.
remember I think they re-released Movies. That's so cool. So you're in the music video.
I'm in
Here's
the-
a question: You were working on music videos when they were like music video, like when you would go home from school and
huge.
sit down and watch these videos.
I was
Oh,
on
yeah.
Making the Video with Fred Turst. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I called him a dick on TV.
No way.
I didn't know that they were recording because I didn't know what Making the Video really was.
That's huge. That's like one of the biggest.
They're like, "How's it working with Fred?" I'm like, "He's kind of a dick."
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So we would wait for them to come out, right? Oh, so good.
I did a few. Marlene Stewart was nominated by the video.
It was
award.
not VMAs. There was another one,
Yeah.
Music Media and Television Awards.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Totally.
I was put up for the Pointer Sisters.
Oh my God.
And
Again, you just keep on dropping the. I'm
They
like,
keep giving me the Pointers was 6'1".
yeah.
At least.
They're like me, but times 10
And-
epically.
And in this one video, because they got me, they kept adding changes.
Of course.
I said, you can't do
They
this.
think we like it, by the way. They think they're like, there's a fashion show montage, and I'm all,
Well, I had to do one thing. I said, girls, there are no shoes for these. You'll have great outfits. Get up on that, it was a boxing thing. Get up on the,
Yeah.
and just barefoot. Go on. Go
So
for it.
you guys are even kind of ish directing then, like
God.
with the working
Yeah.
with them, like, hey, this is what this outfit can or
Yeah.
can't do. Hey, when you're this tall and it's like, hey, we can't really shoot. We have a camera we have to account for and the zooms
Yeah.
and the aspect ratio as well as the outfit. How's it going to look with the lighting and the like? That's amazing. Is that I don't think realize the amount of tweaks that like from the original idea to the final what you saw in the
No.
video, like how many.
Like, you mean when Paul Abdul shows up 4 hours late?
No
Oh,
way.
God,
Something.
we've had that too.
And it was back in the day, if you know what I mean. And I fit the outfit on, and it didn't fit. She was a lot smaller. And we ended up, they wanted her on set, and there's this stuff called gaffer's tape, which works
Of
as like
course.
fabric. It saves everything, right?
Everything.
Yeah.
She looked at me dead in the eye, and she said, Mandy, I will never put my back on camera. So I had it all taped up. She played a judge on Drop Dead Diva, so it was like that like OB thing that she
Yeah,
wore.
yeah.
So she had a judge's robe, and I put a belt on her. The back of it was so janky. It was all taped. This is the best. So I'm on set, right? What can a singer and a dancer do no matter how off they are? They can do their craft, right? So she gets on set, which is a dancing number. I'm talking to my assistant, and the assistant's looking at me, and that's where they're shooting. And you see my assistant go, oh my God. Oh, she's flipping. Oh, okay. Paula got out there, told the director, anything you want, I can do it. She may have come to set one way, but when she got on that set, flipped, back, all these things I'm going, and I told the director, whispered, I'm all, that's literally tape on the back of her. And he goes, it's working, whatever it is. Roll
Oh
camera.
my God.
I wanted to die, because if that split,
Oh, it's
the
done.
whole
The whole
thing's
thing comes
gone.
off.
Wow.
she promised me she wouldn't do anything, but you know what? She did it like a pro. Babe, she walked off set, may have been a different person, but when she's on that number, nailed it.
Wow.
Nailed it. I wanted to die, but yes.
Well, good on you for
Oh my
taping
God,
it
isn't
good
it?
enough to where someone can
Oh,
dance. in
I may have
it.
stapled it to
Do
her
flip.
skin, possibly at some point.
Yeah, right.
My gosh.
Man.
God, there's so many crazy little things that happen that, God, pants splitting open and
Oh, all the time. Rodney Dangerfield coming to set. Hey, honey. And I'm like, Rodney, your overalls are backwards. He's like, yeah, but if you come in the room with me, we're going to have to get married. I'm all, married? What are you talking about, Rodney? And he's like, I do not wear underwear. I'm like, okay, we're going to wear the overall backwards. Like, dead serious. You just go with those little mistakes
That's so
and just work it.
funny.
And the director just looked at me. I'm all, just it'll be 2 hours to get him to change his outfit. Yeah.
oh boy.
That's insane.
Those stories are the best.
Those,
Yeah.
they are. They really are. Yeah. There's certain ones, certain actors that stand out for me.
Right.
When I was doing Streets of Fire, we were on the set.
Does she just add to her resume
I know.
every day?
At Universal. No, but
I mean, in the best way. I
And
die.
I know that's
In
what I'm
the
saying.
best
Her
way.
resume is like a list of just movies and stuff to watch, and that's
I
like
agree.
like
I
right
agree.
like you for like if you're an adult, you should know these, and it's like
I
everything.
think this
you've
is a
worked
money
on.
maker on our part. We're gonna make a class called the Marilyn Vance.
I know.
School your
No,
shit. Am I allowed to cuss?
it's so
Probably
funny
not.
because
School your
I
stuff.
never thought about they don't give awards for the kind of films you do. I said, what kind of awards? The reward. It's a reward to me just to be
Right,
able to
right.
put these people into their character and get them up there.
Yeah.
I love it. I love telling that story. I want it, well, don't you want to do period things? Don't you want, you should really look to do all those kind of things.
But why pull? People say that. Why pull out? This is what I don't know. I get high pulling out stuff of like. I always say this is stuff I never got to do as a kid because we were
Yeah.
broke ass. So I
Yeah.
never, so like, let me do what I'm good at. Did Pat Field ever do anything she wasn't good at? No. She made a career of doing modern. I mean, not like we haven't, but
Yeah.
I think she's, getting up in age and she's killing it still.
Yeah.
Because she's doing what she's good at.
This is the whole, yeah. Well, I was just going to start that other story. Winding back a minute. Willem Dafoe was cast as the bad guy in Streets of Fire. And so he was in a play. His wife was a director at the time of Broadway. And he came racing to Universal, and we were on the lot shooting. And it was a big fire scene where he's standing by the fire and he's the bad guy. You know, I took all the things off the motorcycle guys. Everything was flat. They didn't have a lot of chrome.
I
or
gotta
anything.
see it again. I've got.
But I put patent leather overalls. I made. He didn't even see them till he got right on the set. He takes his clothes off, steps in. This is a theater act. This is what theater is.
He just drops it
He just dropped it. He didn't say a word. He put it on. That was it.
because he can.
Go to the hair.
Man.
No, everyone's looking.
And he didn't question your design because your design
Not
was so dope.
Not a note. Nothing. Nothing.
Because you owned it. You didn't give it to him fragilely. You didn't give it to him as maybe. You're like, here it is.
Yeah.
That is my favorite moment of like, here it is.
Yeah.
And he just did it.
Yeah, but the whole idea, and he got it too, because he said, I was afraid that he might say, "Oh, how twee that patent leather overall is. It's very
No, he's
shiny."
so
I said,
forward-thinking,
but
right?
You're gonna stand by the fire, and it's gonna be
The reflection.
Yeah.
You're good.
Do you guys
Marilyn.
ever have like a backup, or do you just know this is it? Like, do you ever have in your head like they're gonna fight me on this, so just in case I have, or is it just like this is it?
No, it's pretty. I think by the time we put our visual stories together, they don't. They won't do that.
Okay.
I've never had that done anyway.
You can sell them. So when perfect example, 90210, when I got called in the middle of the first episode to come.
Like the original?
Yeah, I was like 9 doing it. No. No.
I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I was so good. I was like, you thought Marilyn Vance was good. I was like, killing it.
Oh, so the remake, so episode 1 on they called you?
Well, on the reboot of 90210, I was in Vancouver doing Charmed. Am I like the queen of reboots?
That's
It's
hilarious,
ridiculous, right?
But
I'm
you're
like,
doing good ones.
well, because I'm still in the middle of like watch the show and still
Yeah.
cool and young enough to like do that. So, was doing Charmed. I saw the designer for 90210, or found out he was a designer, and I remember I looked at my assistant. I'm like, "That's my show," and she was like, "But it's not." I'm like, "It is. I can't even tell you why." Some stuff went down. I got a call to do the show. Came in the middle of episode 1. Howie Deutsch was directing. Married to Leah Thompson.
Oh.
And did Pretty in Pink, right?
Yeah, that's
Howie.
And so, but I didn't say yes. I said, please pay me what the production designer makes. And they're like, no way. And I said, I just got back after being in Vancouver for 5 years. I'm home.
Whoa.
I'm home as I look at my house in Glendale with my cat. I'm like, I'm home, okay? Like, I'm where I'm meant to be. And my cat's like, please get the F out. Like, you really got to make money.
I got to put her on the circuit. Don't you think? What do you think?
They said yes
Wow.
to my needs, which was mind blowing. The taxes sucked afterwards, but getting up there. So point is talking about fitting and nailing the change is no offense, but they hired a stylist. Stylist brings in racks and racks and racks, and usually the actor I came in, I shopped that entire weekend. I had mood boards I made really quick for Tori and Jenny. I heard they were problems. Let me tell you, people aren't problems if you do your job right.
Which
Yeah.
show is this exactly?
90210.
Oh,
BH 90210.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is after you were just and what you weren't doing. Were you doing Charmed for the whole 5 years? Or
I
6
did.
years?
Every time I would come home and thought I'm going to date, I'm going to have a life, I would get called back.
So you were just constant, and this is adding to the getting called back up to.
Oh, and the thing that was weird is that the truck of all my moving stuff got delayed, and my friend's like, you're meant to be in Vancouver. I was like, I'm meant to be in LA. I'm going to fall in love, and everything is going to go great. And I get back, I get called right back there.
Yeah.
But when Tori and Jenny walked into the first fitting, Tori's like, you have a necklace and shoe and a belt and a top. So when you put it together as a head to toe number, I did one backup just in case because I didn't know their bodies.
Yeah.
But it's like a child. You give them too many choices, they're going to doubt you, and they're not going to.
Because you're not
help
sure of
you.
yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You nailed it.
Exactly.
So, and with those two, you have to own it 100%.
agree.
And I did. And let me tell you, to ever say that anyone on that show was a problem is a lie. You
Okay.
just have to be what they need, and
Yeah.
they needed a voice because they wrote the show. You know, they had so many other things to do. So you have backups when you feel that they're maybe, you know, a little chaotic in their life. But if you feel really solid, you have backup pieces maybe, right?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Or sometimes when they walk out of the fitting and you see them, like, or when they're in the fitting and they're kind of touching different places on their body,
Oh.
I'm always like, get a size up in the pant or get a size down in the pant.
Oh, gotcha.
Because on the day they'll be like, these are so loose. I'm all, you can barely fit your thumb in there. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But you realize it's all up here.
Oh
Yeah.
God. Yeah.
That's so
But I
cool.
always, when you are more experienced and you start to know the signs, you have
signs.
backups.
So what are you working on? Are you, so this is 90210. How long ago was that?
A year today.
Okay.
Oh, today.
Wow.
She, your whole list is pretty crazy.
Thank you.
So is that the most
Tell-
recent?
So after 90210 came back, we did like a little kind of baby tour, and like we had this whole Century City Mall thing. It was really cool. Yeah, it was like, you know, it was hot, so it was kind of trailing off. I decided to take 3 months off. Never done that in my life. And I promised myself I would find love, or I don't know, make out with somebody, something. When you work, everyone's like, "How are you single?" And I was like, "I don't know. Tell me." Ask Charlize Theron, and you know, you ask those people that are single.
Yeah.
And I wanted to just chill out. I want to go to the movies. I want to work out.
Sure.
So 3 months after that, then got Lost Boys. They're doing a second reboot because the first reboot got canned.
Yeah. That's.
Oh, is that bad?
Oh,
It just didn't go well.
yeah. Yeah.
right?
Just for the
It was
first.
bad.
I don't know if they even
It's
finished.
not.
Did they even finish it?
They finished. It was like a pilot.
Oh,
But what they
okay.
did is they jumped off the 80s of it.
Mm-hmm.
And
But,
youth
yeah.
today are like, I don't care about vampires. My mom's a vampire. Like,
Yeah.
it's nothing. So now they made it modern.
Mm.
And Marco Siega, the director, I got him. We got in there. They offered me a rate that I hadn't been offered since I did Greek. And we went back and forth, and they ended up hiring a local.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a little time off. And I did a commercial. I did a music video. And I kind of wanted to start to do a lot of more on-camera stuff. And then all of a sudden, this thing called COVID hit. So I had the time off. I had a show. And then this happened. I mean, it went so quick. And so right now, what I've been doing is my Instagram live show called Creative Conversations with Costume Designers.
Oh, cool.
And that's how I met Marilyn.
Oh, very cool.
Totally.
But
There you
I've heard
go.
about her for a very long
Oh,
time.
God, good things, I
Because
hope.
Martika
Yeah. Yeah.
adored her, and the backgrounds are similar, Simi Valley and that whole thing, and they know
It's such a small world.
it is, isn't it?
How I know
Crazy.
your family.
It's crazy.
That's so crazy.
Especially when you get into the same, so like certain industries,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, I'm gonna know you the rest of my life. Like there's like when you go into designing, like I mean, there's gonna be how like you like see Marilyn. I know there's other people coming up that see you, and it's like, you know, you don't realize like as time like 7-10 years goes by, and you're just like,
True.
oh wow, I'm like.
The old person.
I'm in this, but you're like one of the
I'm
people.
like,
like,
no, I get it. No. You
What
do.
about me, the
No,
veteran?
shush. You're not. No, never aging. You like you're this time capsule of genius. But you
Yeah.
know, and you hope to survive. You know, you hope to keep things going. But you realize people like you, people like me, we can be mentors. You know. And, you know, I speak to college students after my Instagram live show. I built this community, which you're doing too, is I'm like homies with Ellen Moroznik. You know, Ruth Carter. Like, you've got these people in your pocket that you can. I texted Lou Eyrich the other day, like, I'm sorry about the girl from Glee. And we're texting back and forth. And I'm kind of fangirling the community that I've created with this Instagram live show. So after that, Amazon hired me to do some commentating. And I'm going to take your guys' jobs. I'll be a
That's
comedian now.
crazy. That's amazing.
Yeah, so a lot of good,
How did Amazon
positive.
find you?
I'm not kidding. I talk shit on shows on Instagram. And there was on the show, this girl, it was this fashion making the cut. And this one girl like walked out and like stormed out. And my video said, don't do it. Don't buy crack on the street. Like, I know that you really want to get high. And it wasn't anything having to do with the show.
Yeah.
Amazon got a hold of me and they're like, we love your commentary. We would like to pay you.
No.
I said, but
way.
I cuss. Like, I just talk crap. And so from that, I just got a hosting agent for an on-camera.
Oh, right.
That's
I love
awesome.
this.
Yeah, I mean, and we all know that on-camera stuff does not happen overnight.
Yeah.
But I put a reel together, and to pivot while we're not working, like bring it on.
That's a good pivot.
I worked my ass off to do it and to create
Yeah.
a reel and to kind of dig back in, what interviews have I done? Or, I had done some red carpets with E before, so I pulled from
But that's
the
where
archives.
it's the whole life of doing it, and you look back and you collect it all, and you're like, oh, I do have a good reel when you actually realize.
It was cool to see that happen, So hopefully that'll bring some,
Well, all the
presence.
things you do, I mean, you bring something very special to it. And she
thank
has,
you.
how many TV shows were you balancing?
In Canada, it was 4, just in Vancouver alone. But at one time, I was doing Shameless and PLL at the same time.
And you've got a show on
characters, don't
Netflix too,
forget
right?
that she organizes those characters
Yeah.
for us.
And she does Travelers on Netflix.
Visually, yeah.
Oh my God, can we just talk about the fact Eric McCormick calls me M, like I'm like his homie M. So Nesta, the beautiful black girl who I dressed just like, come on, look at that cast, like stop it.
Yeah.
So here's the funny thing, she plays this autistic girl. Like it's awesome, dude. It's so good.
What?
Yes. So Travelers, when I got called for that show, I wasn't the person for that show at all. It's sci-fi. Brad Wright, who did Stargate.
Oh, really?
This is his show. I started to read it. I'm like, and no offense to my other shows, but this show had a story, and it had an Eric McCormick. Ask any of his cast members, they're all number ones. He does not steal the show at all. And so when I don't even know if I interviewed. I got called from another producer in Vancouver, and Brad said, I don't want my show to look like sci-fi. I want it to be modern. And
Yeah, because if I looked at this does not seem like a sci-fi
Which
show.
is exactly the reason. I mean, it blew up.
Which is smart because a lot of people I didn't grow up with a big sci-fi background, but then whenever I'd see they write such good stories. So if you can kind of modernize, like that, it pulls people like me, I'd watch this, and then you don't really realize oh no, dog, this is sci-fi. You just
That's what draws, and that's how Brad's forward thinking. Excuse me, was he knew that if he gets someone like me that was modern, and his writing, the best is though is at the production meetings. He's so smart, and the stuff that he writes is like computer 793. We're gonna buy, and I'm always like, what does? And you see my friend, he's like, just don't ask Mandy. You never knew what that meant from episode 2. I was like, but what happened?
That's so funny.
But I learned so much, and if you look at these.
The
actors.
lighting, the coloring of this presentation.
This was a photo.
It's great.
It was beautiful, but if you watch the show, though, you got to see where real came from. So the young guy at the end, he plays the oldest man in the world, but with a 18-year-old's body inside of him. Oh, sorry.
Okay. So so the dude holding his hands, because I know the viewers are watching all the way to the left.
Jared, he's from Saskatoon or what, he's from.
Okay.
And it's 100% Canadian.
I was gonna say they're all Canadian. It sounds like
100% Canadian crew. I was the only American.
that's nuts.
I'm also Canadian. Don't tell anybody.
Ooh, we won't.
And it was a blessing. So you had all these people. The guy with the long hair played a junkie that ended up ODing, but who he was inside was a historian. And then you have Nesta, who's sexy as hell, but she plays an abused wife. And in her body, though, was a leader of one of the biggest armies in the world ever. So they're all coming back from different eras.
How
Eric
cool.
McCormick.
Is this still on? Is this still on?
I promise you, if you get into it, it's only 3 seasons. When that show went down, it was epically people lost their minds. It's on Netflix right now.
So have you? So like you said, they lost. Everyone was bummed out. It was okay.
And Eric, in our last fitting, he said, "I just watched the last episode." I said, "What do you think about it?" And he goes, "We're not going to be brought back." And I'm like, "Is it crappy?" He goes, "Oh, I get the chills. I love the show so much." He said, "It was so good. There's absolutely no reason to tell another story." Oh my God, I get choked up because it was what that show did for us and how close we are still to this day.
That's beautiful.
The woman that played his wife just had a double mastectomy out of nowhere, my age, and we just went, came together.
That's so cool to be a part of so many little families as long because people you
That's
are
what
like
happens.
yeah.
That with TV shows especially,
Right.
you bond, and
Yeah.
you know, I unfortunately never really had that experience. I'd love it. I had
That's
a
true. You
taste
did
of it.
more
Taste.
epic,
Yeah.
mind-blowing, amazing films. But yeah,
But you know, and I would have loved to have been more involved in a great TV show, but I went from bum, 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 bum.
but you know what? During your time, like, movies were it. When I got in the
Yeah.
business, the only reason TV's it now is because it got that way.
Yeah.
You know, you would have been all over TV because you were the hottest thing out there. So I think it's just, where was it hot? Film. Right now
Exactly.
it's TV.
Yeah, and
That's
it's
the
true.
difference.
So
Yeah.
what we got the Congress.
You know what's weird? The shadow from here, it looks like a weird
Yeah, I'm
phallic
looking at.
thing, like on the side of my head. I'm all, that is inappropriate to put on the monitor. There she is.
I
Miss.
I
Look at that
agree.
cast. Look at that cast. Did you see Paul
so
Giamatti and Harvey Keitel?
Yeah, that's insane. So
That's great. Look at that. That photo. Harvey's in there. Harvey
Nobody.
Keitel?
Harvey, bless his. He can't see anything. He can't see.
oh really?
Yeah. Bless his heart. Harvey, yeah, he can't see too well anymore. This movie was made by the guy that did Waltz with Bashir, the animated feature that won a
Oh,
bunch of
yeah.
Tel Aviv Oscars.
So he did and
No, but this movie, how I got the job when I interviewed, I had done presentations on the animation because it goes back and forth from live action to animation. And I got the job when I walked at the door, and my agent's like, well, how'd you get the job that quick? And he said, she also did sketches on the animation. Nobody brought this. Oh, and I thought that's what I stayed up for like 48 hours. I go, I thought that's what you needed us to do. And they have one of the most famous animators in that. And he was like, who is this person? Not that I could sketch, but that I
yeah.
did
You
it.
got your point across. That's
That's
all
amazing.
that matters.
And this
really.
movie, it didn't
Yeah.
blow up, but if you watch it, it's
I love the way this looks.
I was gonna say visual. I looked through all the pictures. Like it's visually like
Beautiful,
unreal. Like the like
right.
even the blue underneath the gold.
Yeah.
well, that's a crooked picture, but
But
on
yeah,
her,
Yeah.
it was pretty. And
You
come
can
on,
tell her personality.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what you do, even though the genres might change a little
Yeah.
bit, there's you there.
you put your mark on it,
Yeah,
right?
you did.
Yeah, you got to be.
Definitely.
This was, it's crazy. We had like 500 background, and I'm in Germany. I know I talk fast, and I'm such a spaz. Can you imagine me coming into German crew? They're just like, "What's happening? What did you just say?"
Wow.
And when they age clothes out there, they treat it like a beautiful fine art. And I was like, have you seen Laverne and Shirley with the assembly line with
Yeah,
the bonbons?
yeah.
They're
Yeah,
like,
right.
I don't know who you are. I created an assembly line with 20 aging and dying people. You do this, you do the sandpaper, you do that. And they were just like, so, you know, they don't, the industry.
So everything that
Which
they're all
show
wearing.
was that now?
This is called the Les Congress.
Les
Oh,
Congrès.
Les
Congress. But everything you see was new or thrift store.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And we aged the F out of it.
Wow.
And I mean, come on, dude. And I mean, you have
That's
these.
the way you do it. I mean,
You're in
Germany.
You're an authentic. That's all there is to
And
it.
that jacket and everything looks so it looks so real. You said the authenticity of these shoes that you're on is so. I mean, you're in it. Like this feels so right now.
I
I'm
love
like that.
doing that. I love aging and dying.
But you know, no matter how much schooling you think, it's
it's in the it's in
the person.
it's
that
here.
You
Yeah.
you have it.
Like those
whatever
color pops.
it is, you got it.
It I remember we on Travelers we had like a meth head couple that like kidnapped these kids, and my crew in Canada was, you know, bless their hearts, but again, they were trying to age really good. And I'm all, do we shoot in like 2 minutes? There's a picture of me down and dirty, covered, no gloves, because you want to, I want to put the oil in. I want
I
to
can't even
sand
begin
it.
to tell you how many times. Honestly, oh my.
Because you
God,
still
the
get
films.
you still get into it.
Yeah.
Because you know,
Yeah.
and that's the thing with experience too. It's like you can say it, but sometimes to show it, you need to show it.
It's
Totally.
true, but you know, it shows itself because the actor actually feels
They live it.
the right. You know, you got him in the groove, and that's all.
I think that's our best compliment to what we do is when the actor's like, I know who I am, thank you. Or when they say I love when they say the director, so-and-so, you know, my character would never do that. And you see the director going, and it comes from a conversation in the fitting room where they got that idea.
It's amazing. It's like with you know, Pretty in Pink doing My Boy.
Do you know how many times I've referenced Ducky
Ducky.
in my
And
career?
that's like
He came in and he said the most incredible thing that I've ever done was getting in those clothes and becoming that character.
love
He said
that.
that was the most
I
incredible.
bet he will go down in history.
Such a nerd.
Well, that's one of the most
character,
iconic
right?
looks and
He's
feel.
a wonderful guy.
100%.
Well, you know, we had to show clever, poor. You can look good no matter
Right.
what you're, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Kids today, they, you know, that's why, like, in certain schools that I help out, they want them to wear uniforms because they don't want kids to, they want to level the playing field for these kids.
Right.
And not let them, you know, because what happens, you go to another public school and you see the ones that have flair and they're
Totally.
into, you know, they're into something. It's really interesting. I mean,
Well, you made a 100% unique feel and look, which is so to still be like feel right and real, but still be that unique is ridiculous. So it didn't feel like, all right, that wouldn't be a real look. But it was so different.
Did you know when you were creating characters like that, even though I've interviewed them before, did you know
yes, dear.
that it was going to go, I guess your brain doesn't think like, oh, it's going to go down in history, but kids these days are jumping off of your films, not even knowing your films. Isn't that crazy? They just know your look.
get fan mail, so to speak. It's crazy
Yeah.
because I had no intention of making a splash.
of course.
You're serving the character. You're telling a story. That character is part of the story.
Right.
Yeah.
If he doesn't look right, the story is off. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's why my famous story about going on to look at all the way the kids looked in California, because I came from New York.
True, huh? Yeah.
And I moseyed on to the Van Nuys High School, and I'm carrying a Polaroid that at that time it was this
Creepy
big.
Marilyn on campus
This
with a
is-
camera.
This
Yeah.
is this big, with all the Polaroid film in every pocket I had. And I'm moseying along taking pictures. I got the stoners. I got, you know, the cheerleaders. I
got some
the,
weed on the side.
Yeah,
What
I
do
got
you
all
do?
the, and then all of a sudden I got the security guard.
Came up and busted. No,
He said, excuse me, but I think they would like to see you in the office.
you're like, I'm used to this. Let's go.
Okay. I go to the office. They had already called the police.
No way.
You are trespassing. You are taking pictures of underage children without parental consent. You this, you that, and
they
the
only
next thing I
knew.
know, I said, "But you don't understand. I'm doing a movie here.
Yeah.
I'm not from.
Yeah.
I'm not from in LA. I don't know what the
I'm
kids
doing a movie.
look
They're
like.
like, rip, even worse.
Yeah.
I don't know what they look like. You know? Yeah. So I need to do this. They called the studio.
Yeah.
They had already called the police.
But you know what? They didn't even know what it was going to be referent. You know, it was like, if you could see in the future, like, oh my God, her
I know.
referencing is for going to be
For-
something epic. Do what you want.
Yeah, that's so funny.
it was so
And
crazy.
in hindsight, they probably would have been like, "Can you please
Can you come
use
hang
our,
out?"
Yeah, can you do our
Totally.
school, please?"
Totally.
No, but I did all the different, you know, Chicago high school. They're different. Every.
I'm glad that you say that because I think a lot of newbies or, you know, people get in the industry think it's like, oh, no, it's this way. It's like, honey, like you got to get in it. You got to live it. It's all about, you know, I think that speaks to a lot of what people are talking about these days is you have to hire this and you have to hire this. With costume designers, production designers, you do the research. That research goes deeper than any living or talking to, you know, you get into those worlds. So, you know.
You do. It's very interesting, and that's what we are trying to give license to the people coming up,
Yeah.
that they should feel what they're doing,
Keep their mouth shut. I'm just
that they
kidding.
have an opinion.
Just sorry, Mike is here. I can't help it. I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No, but I really like. I like that you're almost enabling the youth to think open-minded. You know, it's
Yeah.
not just because they heard it from Kim Kardashian and this is what's dope.
Yeah.
No, open it up.
Yeah, exactly. And also, you know, the different climates that the kids grow up in has a very big bearing on their look and who they are, what they do. It really does. Their interests, and so I got caught up in that whole thing, and it was just an incredible trip.
I'm glad you got caught up in that. And I'm glad you got arrested. No.
Thank you.
I'm glad you're keeping it real, Marilyn.
You're not
Taking
kidding.
one for the team.
Let me tell you. Oh
Yeah.
boy. But also you've done so many different stories,
Yeah, yeah.
different genres basically, but not like the clothing. Like she is incredible with modern because that's very hard. Doing contemporary is probably the hardest thing to do.
Did you hear Ruth on my show? You know what Ruth said? Someone asked her, somebody like there's voices. Someone had written me and they said, is there a genre that you don't necessarily love doing? And she said, was it Ellen? No, it was Ruth. And she said, doing contemporary, even if it was Ellen, she goes, it becomes harder and more tasking because they have an opinion. When you give them period, you're the expert, no longer the person living in modern time. So modern contemporary designers also have to, you always have an actor going, yeah, but so-and-so just did this on the runway this year. But, so they're always in the know. And not that it's like a back and forth thing all the time, but I think the contemporary designers, people have to give us credit for not only staying within the times, but, becoming the expert that they need us to be.
But you project your clothing. You're not on the nose
No.
at this minute.
You
know?
can't because the stuff's going to come out 7 months later, and they're like, we've seen that, we've done that.
You understand that. So many
Yeah.
people don't. I mean, it's...
Yeah, you guys kind of have to be looking to the future.
You do.
Which is kind of weird. So even the movies you work on, okay, this isn't going to be out for a year. And then you kind of guess, like, all right, what's going to still be, or where are we headed? And then kind of beat this,
That's the problem I had with all of those films, and especially Pretty Woman, because it would date it was all out there, everything.
Whatever you did, though, Marilyn,
shopping-
you nailed it.
Yeah.
It's timeless. How'd you do timeless?
Well,
Yeah, I know, right? Timeless that's a hard one.
by not going with what was going on.
Yeah, yeah.
And, just by being a little more, like, private in a certain way. Like, this girl was out there, and we had to show how smart she was to pick up on this guy.
And to
that
believe it.
she could fit in
Totally.
to this thing.
Yeah.
After she got crap all over her, and she's wearing this two-piece thing.
I see that all the time. All that crap you have on, but it's compliment. All that shit you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
on, I love
yeah.
saying that. All that crap. I say that all the
But
time.
no, she wound up, you got to pare down. And the same thing happened for each scene with like hair and makeup. Basically hair, I would say, look, this is what she's going to wear. So can you please give her half up and half down?
That's a whole nother show we could talk
I was going to
about
say, I was
that.
just going
And
to say, yeah, that's
let me tell you, the fights, I was never the most popular person, ever. That was...
It's a look. It's not this department and that
Yes.
department.
Exactly.
It's a look.
You
But-
want to show that she fits in. She's elegant. She's this. She's that. That's what made it so cute with her.
Yeah.
I pared her down.
Yeah.
I wound up wearing the same earrings in 6 changes.
Oh, smart because that's her go-to. Love that.
They
that.
were my graduation earrings.
They were yours.
Yeah.
Of course.
Are you
they were.
really?
We copied them. Yeah.
That's
we copied them
awesome.
I
for
love
the
that.
film. Yeah.
I love how you guys can put your own personal touches in,
Well,
certain characters.
I
you
had a
guys-
locket on Pretty Little Liars with my face in it.
No
And nobody knew. Oh, I
way.
totally. I do this crap all the time. I was
I
like, that's
love
my
it.
face. Did you not see that? Oh yeah, I do that all the time.
That's awesome.
But because we like to make things ours too.
God, there's my girls.
Look at you. Oh wow.
This episode was invented by the creator Marlene King and I, and my ex-boyfriend was a production designer. He was dating a 25-year-old with the last name Disney. That's another story.
Oh.
Dead serious.
Stop it.
Dead serious. But she was like, what theme can we come up for the next dance? And she had brought up like a fairy tale, Grimm's, what was the
Grimm's
song?
fairy tales.
Yeah, like to go back into the old
Brothers
school.
Grimm.
Brothers Grimm, thank you. I'm like the homies, Brother Grimm. And so we kind of bounced off with modern but what I wanted, speaking about hair, so Hannah the blonde, she was Rapunzel. I wanted a dope like braid. Didn't happen.
Yeah.
And then you have Shay Mitchell, who's the evil queen, right? And I wanted like Kardashian extensions. I mean, it all turned out
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
So she had
yeah.
a little braid. And then she was Ariel. So I did touches of modern,
Yes.
fairy tale. But I wanted her to have red woven throughout her hair with shells and stuff. I think she had like a couple shells in the back. It ended up dope. But I mean, we made every Michael Costello custom made that gown for Shay in the middle. Look at her earrings.
I know those are amazing.
I had those made, and I wanted the earrings to touch her chest.
Wow. I was drawn right to her, from the outfit
Oh, come
to
on,
the
it's
earrings.
Shay Mitchell. Everyone's drawn to her.
Oh, yeah.
Let's be honest, people. It has nothing to do with that cleavage. But her bracelets, earrings, crown, all custom made.
Wow.
Ashley, you can't see her shoes, but we made her shoes.
What?
Yeah, dude, from like downtown. I cut and pieced and
Wow.
Yeah, that's
And
can do
Ashley's outfit, I think, was so low cost. We didn't have money on that show. We did not have money, and we made it happen.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I like the way the guys look as well.
Oh yeah, I love my boys.
I love my boys
Yeah.
too.
I love the one all black, and then you got the
But you
different
you can
tones of
tell when it
black.
gets dated with the belt. I would never do a belt anymore with the vest showing in the group. But I try to
that's
tie
so
them.
funny.
There's the little things
Yeah.
No, those are our little things
that we see that.
That's
nobody sees,
right. That we know that are
Totally.
there. That we know it's right.
God, that
yeah.
episode was fun.
Yeah, but wait. The other show that you did, what 5 shows were you doing when you were in Canada?
I did the arrangement for E. I did 90210, Travelers, Charmed. Those insane. And
Charmed was insane to do.
that's a whole nother. Yeah. That's
Okay,
crazy.
we
can
don't
talk
have to-
about it. I don't care.
We don't have to talk about it. It's okay.
What was that? 4, 3? I had just done a pilot called True Fiction right before that, but it didn't get picked up, so that was the fourth
okay.
show. Yeah, so those were all. Every time I would come back
And
home,
they're
they would
all
get picked up.
contemporary, and they're all different. That you
Charm is
really were,
contemporary,
and you
too.
balance. No, but you
Yeah.
you got each one its individuality, which is pretty insane.
Charmed is not the same show as it was first season. We had characters and creatures and badass 80s flashbacks and wings. And so Charmed the first season, I wouldn't say it got up there in the ratings, but the costumes in the story was really good. But they changed it. Now it's just like the bad girl in a tank top and a leather jacket. Nothing against the costume designer, but it's
just different.
they trimmed it down, but you get more viewers sometime that way when you simplify it. That's the word.
Well, we're winding down from the podcast.
What do you mean?
And I
I don't
know
know what
it-
that word. I don't know what that word means.
I know
We're
over an
just
hour.
getting
we've
started.
It really does feel like that. We could sit here all day and keep doing this.
Mandy, I love you.
No, I love that I'm here. I could talk to you forever and go into. We can tell the backstories of what really
I
happened
know.
all day long. But thank you for having me. It's been such
Are
a
you kidding?
cool
This we
experience.
wanted you alone.
Thank you. No, this is cool. This is how finally we get to hang out, right?
Yeah, I know.
This
That's
is
how
it.
it goes. Yeah. Well, where can people find you? So you do a show on Instagram Live.
I'm single. I live at 215 North Meredith. I would, I'm not picky these days. As long as you're funny, I'm good.
I
Maybe
think we
have a
should
job.
Put her stand up. What do you
Oh yeah,
think?
you'd be great.
You'd be great. You would.
Well, she's already ahead of the game because half the time people do stand up because they want to be on TV and be a host
those
for a
reasons,
show,
right?
and then
Like-
you like jump the gun and she's on.
Hey, you know what? That's what pivoting.
Yeah,
is all
pivoting,
about.
exactly.
It really is. Where can you find me? I am still doing Instagram Live, my costume conversations, and then I'm thinking about doing like a makeover show, maybe with you guys digitally, and got to figure it out so I don't have the mental breakdowns teaching myself how to edit. And we'll see where the industry takes me. I've definitely got about 5 calls a day saying go back to Vancouver. There's 20 cases.
Wow.
No
Yeah,
one's
yeah,
sick,
yeah.
and they're starting to shoot. But there's something to me I'm not ready to give up LA just yet. It's my people, it's my home. It's like even though like my family's annoying, but they're still here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
of
we'll see.
course.
That's where you can find me.
What's your handle? IG.
Oh my God! Wait, I love how I'm like 1005. I'm on my handle. I don't know. Like, what do you want to call me? Handle like that. That was like a nickname. Oh my God,
Right.
I'm like so old right now. My handle is just my name, Mandi Line, MandiLine.
Perfect.
And DM me. I like Mexican food, and I'm 5'11". No.
There you go.
Yeah, Mandi Line. That's it. That you can find me on there. And weekly, I have the interviews, And my videos are funny. Like something will happen to me during the day. I promise I won't let you down. I will make
Awesome.
you laugh.
She
Cool.
does. She's amazing.
And Marilyn, let people know where they can find you.
We're right here.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Come in.
Designing Hollywood
Right
podcast.
on Designing Hollywood podcast. Yes.
Great.
Thank you for today. You're
thank
so
you.
great. It was
Thank
great.
you
It was really
so
wonderful.
much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was fun. Thank you.
This is
Yeah.
great. Like now my day is just like I'm on a high.
I know.
This is what I did
But I-
today. Come on.
Yeah.
No, and I'm going to walk away thinking, I should have asked her this. Oh, my God.
No, you know what? I do that all the time. And even as I'm talking to you, I'm like, I should have told this story. It's fine. There was a part 2 one day.
I was just
Yes,
thinking that for
we
next
would
time.
do part 2.
Most
Okay.
definitely.
That's what we do. Well, thank you. I'll
Cool.
be back.